Hey everyone, it's Charlie Plays, and welcome to the third and possibly final part of the Emilie story quest. I don't want to drag this out, but I will get on to the video. Just like that.
Guess we'll have to keep at it.
The night deepens as the time passes.
Still nothing unusual. Hyman took a peek into the room next door and Sylvain's already sleeping.
Sherm hasn't issued a warning either.
Perhaps Kiria's true motive was simply forcing Sylvain to confess his crimes. No, that can't be right. If all he wanted was for Sylvain to be convicted for his true crimes, he could have tipped off the Marechaussee Phantom years ago.
And he already killed Lucien. There's no reason to stop there.
There must be something we're missing. Something extremely important.
Maybe we just need to calm down a little. How about some tea? That herbal blend from earlier was pretty tasty.
There's nothing here, but we can use twink tea.
You're right. Maybe we can look for a different distraction then, like looking at the flowers. Oh, there's a glaze lily here. Paimon didn't notice it earlier.
Because they don't bloom during the day.
Flowers, glaze lilies, incense. Oh no! Sylvain's room! Quick!
Wait, what?
Emilie rushes next door. A strange floral fragrance saturates the room. Seems moving on the bed, already fully unconscious. Watch.
Hey, did you hear? Someone was attacked again last night.
It was the older of the merchant brothers, right?
Yeah, I think his name was Sylvain. Poor guy was murdered in cold blood.
First it was Mr. Edgar, then that merchant named Lucien, and now this.
Listen up, everyone. This is an active crime scene. Please, no loitering.
It's been 3 days and they haven't even caught a glimpse of the guy. What is going on?
Do you think it could be the work of an evil spirit? I mean, how do you get away with something like that with so many people watching?
Keep it moving, everyone. No loitering.
So it's not Sylvain. He died?
I suppose I'm next.
You don't know that. Kiria already attacked you once, and you survived. Perhaps he doesn't consider your crime to be worthy of death.
You were the only reason I managed to survive, Emilie. I never did thank you for that,
Why am
did
I
I?
suspicious of Emilie? There's no way she's a murderer.
Even if I wasn't there, Tainari was also in the vicinity. He would have been able to help.
Is that so? I suppose I'm a very fortunate person then. I have exceptional students, caring friends, and the respect of my peers. If it is indeed my time to go, then I'll die without regrets. But Kiria has nothing. Yelena is gone. Now, his enemies are too. It really makes you wonder if there's even a reason to keep on living.
If you really want an answer, I suppose you'll have to ask Kiria himself, once we finally catch him.
Well, I hope it all goes well. Emilie, there's something else I'd like to ask of you. With everything that's happened, holding the exhibition is off the table now.
Oh,
But
yeah.
so many flowers were transported here for the show. Some of them thousands of miles away from their homeland. I can't let them wither away with no one to care for them. Whether Kiria gets to me first, or I'm sent back to Fontaine to stand trial, I won't be around to look after them. I know it's a lot to ask, but could I entrust them to your care?
This guy's got his
Of
plans.
course, Master.
Really? Oh, I'm glad to hear it. Now I truly have nothing to worry about.
Sheriff Sham still has some questions for me, so I've gotta go.
Go ahead. Best not to keep him waiting. He can be quite impatient.
I'm sorry, Master.
Why did she... apologize? Was it?
Another all-nighter. Paimon sure hopes Emily's plan will go well.
Don't tell me it's Emily. Do not tell me it
Emily
was
still isn't back.
Emily.
I hope she didn't run into any trouble.
She's extremely metallicious. I'm sure she's prepared to handle anything that might come our way.
Yeah, that's true.
Traveler, I had my men start spreading the information you requested. The crowd is gone now too, but I have to admit, I'm not really sure what's going on. After listening to Emily's plan, I started getting the materials together and arranging personnel. I barely had a second to spare last night. To be honest, I'm still not sure how the crime was committed that night.
It's pretty simple,
The
actually.
key clue was right in front of us the entire
I
time.
feel like you've been waiting to say that for a while.
Let's go. We'll show you where the culprit hid a goose. This is it.
They had to say that. They put it on the flowers, dude.
Glazed lily, huh? I think I've heard of it before. It's a flower from Liyue, right?
Well, did you know it only blooms at night?
Emily, you're back.
How did it go?
Exactly as expected.
A flower that only blooms at night. Ah, like the Neelitpala lotus.
Exactly. Although the Neelitpala lotus wouldn't be a good substitute in this scenario. When it's closed, the gaps between the petals are too large. That's why Kyria chose the glaze lily as his mechanism. He would start by preparing an Agoose sample.
If you stick the petals to...
That's right! He applied a diluted form of slime condensate to the petals to stick them together and enclosed a sample of Agoose in the center. That way, the Agoose would remain trapped inside during the daytime, unable to seep between the petals and evaporate into the air. This also allowed the culprit to plant the poison well in advance, while his targets remained oblivious. However, the diluted slime condensate wouldn't be viscous enough to prevent the petals of the glaze lily from opening at night. So by nightfall, the flower would bloom, thereby forcing the target to inhale the Agoose trapped inside.
And Kyria could execute his revenge without having to step foot inside the room during the night.
By the next morning, the sample of Agoose would have nearly fully evaporated. The glaze lily would have already closed its petals, and any lingering odor would be concealed by the fragrance of the other flowers in the room.
And his mission would be accomplished.
Wait a second. You're telling me this version of Agoose is so toxic, inhaling the minute amount trapped inside a flower is enough to kill a grown man? And how did Edgar even survive ingesting a whole bottle of the stuff?
That's because Agoose is just as dangerous now as it was all those years ago. The level of toxicity has never changed. Only a small subset of people are truly at risk.
Ah, you mean people who are sensitive to elemental energy. So it's just some sort of happy coincidence that Sylvain and Lucien are allergic to the stuff? That can't be right.
I wouldn't use the word allergic necessarily. It's more like they're susceptible to its effects. But that distinction isn't important right now. You can think of it this way. It's not that Sylvain and Lucien are innately sensitive to elemental energy, but that Kyria found a way to ensure that they would be.
In Sumeru, scholars use spirit-born...
Alchemically produced essential oils, the primordial seawater that caused unrest in Fontaine not too long ago. All of those are substances that can heighten your sensitivity to elemental energy.
And Kyria chose Spirit Bonu.
That stuff gave us a lot of trouble when we first came to Sumeru.
Ah, yes. I definitely remember that.
In Sumeru, it's not uncommon to use incense indoors, so its presence wouldn't arouse suspicion. The flowers in the room could also serve to mask the scent.
Flowers were pretty important to this plan, huh? The glazed lily is native to Liwa. It would be completely unnatural to have one here in Sumeru if it weren't for the exhibition. What a coincidence.
Actually, it's not a coincidence at all.
The expedition, the hotel, it was a little meticulously designed trap.
No wonder he was willing to pay a small fortune to rent out the hotel.
He probably used the mora Yelena left him, don't you think? That money was supposed to set him free, but in the end, it was just a tool for his revenge.
There's a saying among forensic doctors in Fontaine. Every step you take leaves a mark. But up until this point, we haven't been able to detect any trace of Kiria's activities. That's not because he was coming and going undetected, or because he's some kind of evil spirit, but because he's been disguised as someone else this entire time.
But Kiria was only in his teens back then. He wouldn't even be 40 years old by now. Edgar's lived here for so many years. Even if he changed his appearance, going that long without giving anything away, it would be impossible.
Bad news, Sheriff. Mr. Edgar was attacked.
What?
A dark shadow-like figure just ran out of his room. It was giving off a really ominous aura. But before we could even react, the figure up and disappeared like some sort of ghost or something. By the time we got a look inside the room, Mr. Edgar was gone. Do you think Kiria kidnapped him?
I need you to think very carefully about this. Are you certain that figure wasn't Edgar himself?
I mean, Mr. Edgar was so frail. I don't see how he could have moved that fast.
It would seem Master decided to tap into an ill-advised source of power.
What? But that's so dangerous with the condition he's in. It's...
Suicide.
But why? Why would he do that? He's already accomplished his revenge.
No. If his aim was to target everyone who had a hand in Yelena's death,
If he left Sylvain alive yesterday, not out of a desire to see him suffer, but to confirm the truth about why Yelena chose to die,
then there's still one target left.
Oh! Let's ask the merchants nearby.
This is terrifying.
Baby.
A ghost! It's a ghost!
It's all right. Please, calm down and take a deep breath. Can you tell us what you saw?
I love her eyes, dude. I really do.
I saw a black shadow. It ran right past me. How could something like that happen in broad daylight?
Can't talk to him. Come on.
If we go any further, we'll be out of port almost. There'll be hardly any witnesses.
It's all right. I can detect a faint whiff of the scent from here. I would say he passed by this location not too long ago. It's this way. Please, follow me.
Oh! Oz!
Oh.
Are you alright? Were you attacked?
No, I'm all right. I was just chasing after that figure, and then all of a sudden, I didn't feel so hot.
Let me take a look.
The air definitely feels heavy. It smells nice, but for some reason, it's hard to breathe.
this feeling, I've encountered it before.
Everything looks all right. It was probably just the stress of the chase, combined with the impact of the environment. A bit of rest would do you some good.
I can't rest. Mr. Edgar is still in there. He taught my sister how to make perfume. He's a good man. I can't just abandon him to die by Kiria's hand.
Oz, you need to calm down and listen to me. Edgar is the one we're after. He and Kiria are the same person.
But how is that possible? I thought you said Kiria was in his 30s. Mr. Edgar is 70-something. Changing your appearance to look decades older...
That doesn't seem possible.
No, I've
That's
gotta admit,
precisely why he had to resort to extraordinary measures to age himself.
a delusion.
Kyria used a delusion to bring back the Auguste flower, corroding his body in the process, just like his older sister.
No. He couldn't have. Mr. Edgar has been in Port Ormos for years. If someone started impersonating him all of a sudden, we would have noticed.
And what if the impersonation started before he ever set foot in Sumeru? I've yet to confirm it, but I suspect Kyria killed the real Edgar in Fontaine not long after his release from prison. While Edgar was incarcerated, Kyria started making preparations to replace him, including forcefully aging his body, studying perfumery, and planning the real Edgar's demise. The new Edgar then decided to relocate to Sumeru, seemingly out of an innocuous desire to let go of the past. He even and Sumeru fit the bill to a T, with no one around to question his identity. All he had to do was grow a beard, don a pair of glasses, make a few minor alterations to his appearance, and everyone would believe he was exactly who he claimed, Edgar, a perfumer from Fontaine. As the years went by, he removed his disguise little by little and continued to refine his skills. It would have been a gradual process, one that ensured no one around him would notice anything unusual.
That explains why Sylvain said he barely recognized Edgar back at the hotel. He aged himself decades beyond his years just so he could accomplish his revenge. Is that even worth it?
I need to find Mr. Edgar. He's not that kind of person. He can't be.
What you really need is to get out of here and rest.
No, I can keep going.
Wait! This environment is likely being influenced by the delusion. Any discomfort, no matter how slight, should not be treated lightly. I know how to relieve your symptoms, Mr. Ooze. Please come with me and rest. I'm sure Kyria... No, Edgar wouldn't want any more innocent people implicated in all this.
Kale's right. The Traveler and I will take things from here.
Hell yeah.
From our brief exposure to a goose, it would seem the substance has little effect on us. This leads me to believe those blessed with a vision or capable of wielding elemental power are more resistant to the effects of abnormal elemental energy. In other words, this environment doesn't pose as much of a risk to us. Actually, now that I think about it, this stronghold likely has multiple points of entry. If the target were to escape from a different point of entry, that might allow him to evade capture. I hate to trouble you, but we need people to survey the perimeter.
Thanks. Hear that? We're heading out. There's work to be done. Ooze, head back to Port Ormos and start gathering reinforcements.
Got it.
Traveler,
Out you go.
Emilie, Paimon, please be careful. For someone whose only purpose in life is revenge, there's no telling what they'll do when there's no reason to move forward.
Don't worry. This isn't the end. Not for us or for Kyria. We're not going to let a goose kill anyone else. It's time for the mythos to fade into obscurity.
Whoa, look at all the Auguste flowers! There are so many of them. I can't believe a single person did all this. Must have taken a lot of time.
I fear that statement is truer than you know, Paimon. Using a delusion comes at a cost. Not just time, but the time you have left to live.
But why would Kyria need this many Auguste flowers? He only needed a few bottles of Auguste to carry out his plan, right?
Perhaps hatred wasn't the only emotion fueling his obsession with Auguste.
What do you mean?
Not long ago, he told me he didn't want all the flowers transported to Sumeru to wither away in a foreign land. But Kyria betrayed Snezhnaya, abandoned Fontaine, and lived his entire life in Sumeru under the guise of someone else. For someone with nowhere to call home, perhaps dying among a bed of Auguste flowers just like his sister is the best homecoming he could ask for.
My loss.
And
Oh, God, see. tripping?
The scent of flowers is getting stronger. We're almost at the end.
Did they catch up that fast? No. My strength is just waning. But it doesn't matter. This is far enough.
He's killing himself.
This is a garden of Auguste flowers. But it's not mine. It's the one that was set on fire all those years ago in Fontaine. Yelena? Yelena! You tried to hide it from me, but I always understood. The reason why you continued to use the delusion, the reason why you set your garden on fire, it was all because of me. I shouldn't have listened to you that day. I shouldn't have taken the Mora and ran. But by the time I realized something wasn't right, there was nothing left. The flowers were gone. And so were you. I know I'm almost 20 years too late. I should have come looking for you earlier. I should have died with you that day. Yelena? Yelena! No! Don't leave me! Please!
Bye.
Emilie? I'm alive. No, that's not possible. I saw her, Yelena. We were together.
That was an illusion, likely brought about by the residual toxin in your body coupled with the pollen in the air, neither of which are fatal.
No. The amount of Auguste I drank, it should have been enough.
I'm sorry to say this, but that was a fake.
A fake? But how?
We started making the preparations last night with one goal in mind: to create a perfect accord. The accord is the basis of perfume making, the product in its most primitive
form. Ambergris mixed with cedarwood, rounded out with a base note of agarwood.
This is the scent of leather?
Exactly. We're unable to extract essential oils from leather, but by combining other raw materials, we can recreate its essence. That is the purpose of an accord.
Does that mean you can recreate any scent in the whole world?
I'm afraid not. Certain fragrances in this world are simply one of a kind. That quality is what draws people in and fuels their obsessions.
If I wear a goose to the ball, I'll also be one of a kind.
Our competitor already got their hands on it. Hurry, Molly.
It doesn't matter how much it costs. I have to buy something better.
This fragrance will be one of a kind, no more. Myths can be deconstructed, miracles can be recreated. All it takes is skill, experience, limitless exploration, and a little patience. The only thing left is determining where the real Auguste is hidden. Pretending to be attacked means he's not free to move around. Auguste must be hidden within reach.
Hyman took a peek through the window earlier and his house was packed with flowers.
The curator commissioned a flower pot from Kasharawar, capable of retaining heat and moisture.
Perfumes are as beautiful as flowers, and equally as delicate. When stored, you must take care to control the temperature and keep them away from direct sunlight. Did you get all that, Emily?
I got it.
Did you hear? Someone was attacked again last night.
So, Sylvain is dead. Is that right?
Yes, Master.
So, you switched the bottles of Auguste, and then lied to me about Sylvain's death.
Convincing you that your revenge had been completed was the easiest way to get you to let down your guard.
Impossible. Even if you found a way to switch out the bottles, there's no way you could have made an accord. If Auguste was so easy to replicate, Yelena wouldn't have.
It was a combination of rainbow roses, glaze lilies, and Cecilias. Those ingredients would have conflicted with each other if you tried to combine them in the past. But recently, we found a way for them to work together.
Rainbow roses, glaze lilies, and Cecilias.
Auguste was created over 10 years ago. All this time, people never stopped analyzing it, never stopped trying to recreate it. Perfumery techniques are advancing day by day. We found better ways to extract essential oils, separate oils and fats. We even discovered new ways to combine fragrances together. The mythos surrounding Auguste may have been untouchable almost 20 years ago, but now it's time for it to become a thing of the past.
The past?
You've been working as a perfumer for all these years. You should have always known that it is possible to make an accord, even if only in theory. But the meaning you assigned to Auguste became so inflated, you allowed yourself to get lost in it, just like the perfume mania that captivated the public all those years ago. You believed in its divinity and grandeur. You believed it was entirely one of a kind.
And in the process, you forgot that it was a bottle of perfume, nothing more.
Your obsession with Auguste is also what allowed us to predict how you intended your plan to end, and to make preparations in advance.
Bro, it was so predictable.
We just didn't expect it to happen so fast.
Or that you would activate the delusion.
Well, you hit the nail on the head now, didn't you?
Certainly did.
So, Sylvain isn't dead.
This doesn't seem so.
Since you've been preparing your accord since last night, I assume you've also figured out my method, then. That means the news of Sylvain's death. The crowd gathered outside the hotel this morning. It was all an act you put on with the sheriff.
I'm not gonna lie, I thought he really was dead.
Yes. If we hadn't, you might have resorted to the delusion out of desperation, or continued to use your spirit Borneal and Auguste combination to wreak havoc.
Who knows? Maybe I would have just offed myself then and there.
I know if you had things your way, you would carry the truth of Edgar's demise and the secrets of this garden to the grave, but I'm sorry, Master. I don't want to see any more death. Sylvain only inhaled a small amount of poison. He's being detained as we speak. All the crimes he concealed back then will be exposed in a court of law for everyone to see, and all his secrets will be revealed. The same goes for you as well.
Is that so? Well, I suppose I'll be spending the rest of my days in a prison cell then.
Whoa, he accepted that kind of fast.
I don't feel the need to justify my actions, nor do I intend to repent for them.
Well, that's what prisoners
I did what I set out to do. I may have lost in the end, but it was my choice every step of the way. And if I could do it all over again... But there's no going back, is there?
No.
Careful, everyone. This environment's dangerous.
Carly!
Stick close. Hurry up. Can't let Edgar die.
Looks like I'm almost out of time. Although, I do have one final question, Emilie.
Of course, Master.
The combination you used to make your accord. How did you figure it out?
Yeah, that's...
The scent of Auguste is complex and varied, yet the main ingredient consists of a single variety of flower. So, as I was analyzing the sample yesterday, I got to thinking, what if the scent of the Auguste flower was already imbued with that complexity during its cultivation?
You're saying Yelena designed Auguste to have the scent of multiple flowers?
Rainbow roses, glaze lilies, Cecilias. The perfumers of the past knew that if you combine their essential oils directly, they would just cancel each other out. It was a conundrum they could never solve. But if you cultivate a new flower species that intrinsically carries the unique features of those three scents, you can bypass that issue entirely. It goes without saying that for that time, this idea was a stroke of genius.
Rainbow roses, glaze lilies, and Cecilias. Those really do seem like flowers you would choose, Yelena.
Not long after that, the Aramites rush over, and Curia accepts his fate without saying a word. And thus, all the turmoil caused by Auguste's friend comes to an end. A few weeks later, you receive a letter from Emilie inviting you to catch up in Fontaine. Oh, cool! It teleported us here. Be just Emilie?
Did you know? Miss Emily's releasing a new perfume. Right. I heard about that. I think it's called Yelena.
That's so sweet.
Seems like everyone in
Just
Fontaine is
Emily?
talking about the new perfume you're releasing.
I was hoping to release it without such a fuss, but the news spread way faster than I expected.
How can you blame them? You're a well-known perfumer, dude.
I just hope it won't become the source of some new myth, especially after all the work we did to demystify Auguste.
About this perfume, did you use the cord from back in Smart?
I did, although I made a few modifications to the formula to make the scent more pleasant and long-lasting. I actually brought a few samples with me today. I hope they're to your liking. Also, I was hoping you could try out the fragrance before I officially release it and tell me your thoughts.
Of course! A good sense of taste and sense of smell go hand in hand, you know? Just leave it to Paimon! Oh, it smells great!
I'm not sure that's the kind of feedback she had in mind.
It's alright. All feedback is worth considering. Besides, when it comes to perfume, commenting on whether it smells good is the most straightforward assessment you can ask for. There doesn't always have to be a deeper meaning.
For meanings. Curia's final question.
Right! Do those flowers have some special meaning? Hearing their names seemed to have an effect on him.
If I had to guess, I'd say it probably has something to do with the language of flowers.
The language of
I've
flowers?
never heard of that before.
Oh, we've heard of that before! Paimon remembers hearing something
Oh yeah,
like,
the rainbow rose represent
the
love.
Cecilia represents the true feelings of the prodigal son?
What each flower is said to represent varies by person and across different moments in history. The same is true for the flowers that make up the scent of Auguste. After returning to Fontaine, I did some research, and it turns out the meanings of those three flowers can be reassembled to form a single phrase. Forget the past and keep on living. Perhaps
Oh,
that's
I
the
love
legacy
that.
Yelena always intended, not the nobility and grandeur most people associate with Auguste.
Oh, maybe that's what she hoped for her brother.
You think Kiria knew about that?
I paid him a visit before his trial and explained what I found, but he didn't seem to care. Who knows? Maybe she didn't mean anything by it at all. That was his response. Yelena is gone. We'll never know what she was thinking. We can look for meaning all we want, but it'll never be anything but conjecture. Even if that is what she was trying to say, I would never be able to forget her. Avenging her death? That was the meaning I chose for my life. Kyria cultivated his revenge like a flower. He was committed to making it bloom, even if in the end, it didn't bear the fruit he was hoping for.
Kyria.
In any case, he did want me to pass along his thanks. Thank you for saving my life, for giving me the chance to learn that a goose could have carried a very different meaning. Love and hatred are a privilege of the living. When someone dies, their thoughts, feelings, and intentions die with them. In that sense, what a goose truly represents in the language of flowers will forever remain a mystery. But even if it's only a conjecture, I would like to believe my own interpretation. The meaning we give to flowers, the symbolism we assign to our perfumes, they're constantly twisted and exploited in our imperfect world. And yet, at the very outset, they're born from the simplest and most beautiful desires we hold in our heart.
I'm glad I didn't stop. Oh, dude, we got a bottle? Oh my god! Now I smell nice. Look at me, I smell nice. Well, this has been Emilie's Story Quest. I did really like it. I just loved all of it. I loved how the twist, how it was Edgar in the end, and it was just incredible. The next story quest, I don't know who it'll be. I don't know what the banners are going to be, either Kanich or Milani, but new characters, and Natlan is going to be very soon, so look forward to that. I'm looking forward to it. I will see you all in the next video. Hit like, subscribe, and comment your opinions. Hit notifications if you want to, and I will see you all when Natlan comes out. See ya!